And I went my whole career without that.
We're the kings of Google. How do we make sure that we don't get left behind?
You're just gonna throw money in the trash if you're trying to pay for leads.
Better be strong.
Trey, first thing first, I've been here, I don't know, 2 hours. I've already learned a lot. That's why I love doing this stuff. And you just told me outside that similar to me, when you started, you didn't want to grow a big business. You actually probably were trying to stay away from growing a big business.
Yeah, well, the internet craze I see all today, whether it's salesmen or people coming from other industries, you know, the buzzword is scale, scale, scale right away. And that just wasn't my path, for better or worse. I wanted to kind of work Monday through Thursday, roof a couple roofs. We were working out of the house. I was comfortable. I had 4-day weekends until my why happened. And that was 6 years into owning the company. The crew that we used, the leader was named Daniel. So we would share him with another company. We'd pass him back and forth to some other company that I didn't even know. So he'd work a couple of roofs for me a week, work a couple of roofs for the other company a week. The other company sold to new ownership, and Daniel didn't get along with his new boss. Came to me at the end of 2019. He said, when 2020 hits, I'm only working for you. I don't want to work for that other company.
I don't have work, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
I need to show you with this guy.
That was my initial thought process. I'm like, I need to keep this guy busy. You know, he's worked for me for 6 years. Now it's my responsibility. I got to figure out how to grow. You know, before that, I was one of those false bravado walking around. I only take referrals. We don't do any marketing. We're so good that people refer us business, and that's all we rely on. I don't need marketing. I don't have a wrapped truck. I had, you know, maybe the magnets for the first 6 years on the side of the truck, working out of the house. And again, there's some benefits that, because I was able to grow slow and steady, but then once I learned how to market, it really just put the gasoline on the fire.
And that's 6 years you operated that way.
6 years.
6 years.
Yep.
So, like, do you remember what kind of money you were making, like how you were living?
Yeah, I mean, I was comfortable. You know, I wasn't ambitious for growth. If I could do 1.5 million a year, you got to remember back then the roofs cost 10 grand, not 20 grand a piece. But by myself, I sold the job, I pulled the permit myself, I managed the job myself, I towed the trailer, all that stuff. You do 2-3 roofs a week, you make a good living. Things are pretty easy, but you know, you're never going to be where you want to be in the long run, I think.
Right, 100%. That's funny. So, like, the pressure of keeping your crews moving is what made you grow?
Yep.
I have the same exact story.
Yep.
Mine, I was doing repairs by myself, but like, you know, you do a $1,200 repair, $1,800 repair, barely any material. I was making good money. Like, I could make that in a day. So, like, if I worked 3-4 days, same thing, no big deal. I was doing CrossFit. I was, you know, 4-day weekends, same thing. I wasn't that motivated. And then I got lucky. This 300 square job fell in my lap. I knew a guy on the board, actually from an AA meeting. That's how I knew him. But he was on the board. And the roof was under contract with somebody else. Somehow the contract fell through. Materials were up on the roof already, but they needed somebody to come in and fill it. And basically because I knew this guy, I got a 300 square apartment complex. So I rounded up guys that weren't working for me full time, guys I used to roof with before I had a company. And while they were doing that roof, I sold like 4 more. And I had a little time because, you know, 300 square, it took a little bit. So then I had 4 jobs to get to after that. And then just the pressure, I'm like, oh, I can just keep these guys working. They like me. They want to work for me. I can keep them moving. The pressure of trying to keep them scheduled out, like, really drove me. And that was my main driving factor in the beginning, was just like, how do I keep these guys moving? How do I stay ahead of them? So, like, I was selling roofs with the motivation to keep the schedule full, not to make money or grow the business. And, dude, honestly, I'm still more that way.
That's how I operate as well, too. When that, you know, Monday rolls around, you look at the schedule, you got 4 crews saying, what's the address on Sunday? And you're like, all right, I got enough to keep them all busy this week. This is great. And there's been some fluctuation with us because we had the hurricane, you know, so we brought on new crews, and they're great roofers, and then it just kills me when we slow down a little bit to have to, hey, sorry, I can't feed your family.
Yeah, 100%. It's still my motivating factor. Like, more than the numbers, more than profit, is like, how far scheduled out are we? Are the crews busy? Are we keeping them moving? I was talking to, I can't believe I just forgot his name. Sales manager's name again?
Mike.
Money
Mike.
Money Mike. I was talking to him about permitting and inspectors. And I'm like a little bit of a cowboy with the inspectors and the building departments because like if they're slowing me up, I don't want to slow the guys up, and I care more about the guys working than the building department, to where like I'll have to get on the phone with building officials all the time. Like, dude, you gotta stop messing with us. You gotta wait for inspections. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I'll hang up the phone like, all right, we're not gonna fuck with them anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
leave them alone.
No, we deal with the same stuff. You know, there's percentages of roofs you can complete, and you always want to push that limit, 75% before inspection, or if they're waiting on the inspector, you're supposed to be there at noon, he's at 3, and you get that bad boy call. You guys are at 80%. What are you doing out here? It's like, well, you know, I'm just so sorry. I promise it won't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a good relationship as far as
We
our
do too.
workmanship. They know we're good. They know we do good work, but we definitely push the boundaries on moving a little too quickly. The number one question I get online from new guys in business is like marketing. How do I get leads? What form of advertising should I do? I need work. I need leads. What would you say to that question?
I say that they're kind of putting the cart before the horse. You want to start with branding, right? Because if you get your branding dialed in, the marketing is cheaper and it's easier in the long run. For instance, I always say keep it simple, stupid. You want to have a sticky name that's rememberable. So Strong Roofing is far different than, say, your last name. You know, if your last name
Which,
is
quick side note, I always thought that was your last name.
Yeah,
I'm happy to learn it's not.
Yeah, so my last name is Martell, and it doesn't sound as cool as Strong Roofing. It's not as memorable as Strong Roofing. And if you ask your average homeowner, who's the last company that did your roof? They don't remember. But I feel like they always remember the name Strong Roofing. So anyways, back to your question. If I were to start a roofing company today, after I figured out my branding, the marketing moves that I would make is, first and foremost, Google. Google's king, all right? And it's free. It's easy. There's no overhead. Everyone that will vouch for you, that you've ever done work for, everyone that loves you, your mother, your sister, your wife, if they will say something good about you, you should have them leave a 5-star review for you. Hey, my husband Trey is a great guy. I trust him with everything.
So are you suggesting that you don't lie and have your wife act like she was a roof customer? Just say,
Yeah,
my husband Trey's a great guy.
But here's
There
the
you
other
go.
part. As most roofers, you have done roofs for those that you love. You know, who do you think put my mom's roof on? Mm-hmm. I put my mom's roof on, so she definitely left a 5-star. Regardless, you want to be ethical, but you want to get those 5-star reviews on your Google page. Okay, that's going to boost your SEO. You want to be first in that 3-pack. Okay, so the Google is first and foremost. A little nugget for the Googles: if you can have them leave pictures, it's very powerful of their work in progress.
Also, keywords in your review responses. And if you can coach the person leaving the review to put keywords, great, but that's a little more difficult. But in your review responses, the keywords definitely
Absolutely.
matter
Whenever
too.
I leave someone else a keyword or a Google response, if I'm leaving them a 5-star review, say for my plumber, I put into ChatGPT, please use keywords in the review for this plumber to help his SEO.
Yeah, because if you don't know, keywords is just what are people searching?
Yeah.
What are the words they're actually typing in the search bar?
Okay, cool. The other thing I would do is join a BNI. We spoke about this before the podcast, Business Networking International. It's basically a well-run organization that you have one plumber, one roofer, one insurance agent. You get the gist of like 35 people. You meet once a week for breakfast, and you're encouraged to pass referrals to each other. Mm-hmm. That is a very economical way to drive very, very warm leads. What else do I have here? Wrap the trucks, okay? When I first started, it took me far too long to wrap my trucks. Like I said, 6 years in, I hadn't wrapped my truck. I made every excuse not to wrap my truck. There was something inside me telling me to wrap my truck, but little voice in the back of my head was saying, the truck's kind of old. You'll probably get a new one soon. Wait to wrap it then. I would say, hey man, I don't want anyone to see me texting on my phone in my wrapped truck. They might leave me a 1-star review. So on and so forth. I'm telling you right now, whatever truck you drive, it should be wrapped, okay? Key to wrapping the truck, again, keep it simple. You want to have your company name as big as possible, maybe the phone number, but you don't want a bullet point list of the trades that you do. You want your name to be able to explain Strong Roofing does this. If you do gutters too, that's fine. You can tell the homeowner later. But you want the initial draw to be as big as possible. I also started putting my face on the back of the trucks as well with a little bubble that came out that said, it better be strong.
Which, let's stay on that, because I was thinking that the whole time you're talking. You guys have your face on the truck, which,
Yep.
like, to me, I would have never thought to do that. But when I'm looking at your truck this morning, I'm seeing it, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, dude, that's amazing, because it just builds trust. You're not hiding. You're the owner. You're out there. Then that same face is on TV commercials. They see them on their social media. So you're out there as the owner, which, what does that do? It builds trust. It's
Builds
great.
trust, and like the old adage that people do business with people, they don't do business with companies. I think that's true to a certain degree, but you want to link your personal brand to your company brand, and you want to be the best in both spaces.
Yeah, and we were just at that job site, and the homeowner came, and like, you hadn't met the homeowner
I had
yet,
not.
I could tell, but like, he came up to you, you're chatting, and he's like, yeah, I see you on the commercials all the time. Like, he feels like he knows who the owner is. So you have a sales representative. Yes, they're representing your company, but they also kind of feel like they know and trust you a little bit as the owner. So you have like double layers of trust.
Yeah, so it brings the leads in, right? When you're making the sale, it makes them feel more comfortable with you as well if they know your face or they know the owner's face. And beyond that, there's unforeseen things like that customer we saw at the job site today. That job is dragging a little bit longer than I would have liked. So the reason I went up to him and introduced myself when he was passing by, hey, how you doing? How's everything going? Want to make sure you're happy? Oh, absolutely happy. I see your face on commercials every morning. And I'm like, that probably helped him feel comfortable with the process dragging.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Where were we? What do we got?
I don't really think you spent $1 yet either in any of this. Maybe the B&I groups could cost a nominal
Yeah, so the
expense.
B&I cracks out to be about $2,000 a year.
Right.
Okay.
That-
so-
I mean, that's
yeah,
come on.
it's nominal. The truck wrap, you want to spend $2,500 maybe.
Right, but that's like a one-time thing. I just view the truck wrap cost as the cost of the truck. We buy a new truck for the business, we send it to get wrapped before it even hits our yard, and then it comes wrapped.
100% wrap everything. You know, I had my dad convince me not to wrap the trailers because they might get scratched for the longest time. That was bad advice, Dad.
Even beat up, they look fine driving around. Like our Ecliptor's wrapped just like yours, and it's beat up. Of course it's beat up, but it looks fine.
It doesn't
looks
matter.
fine.
I agree 100%. Okay, something else that we do that I would do right away that's a nominal fee, we have farmers market in Sarasota. So they'll let you sponsor the farmers market. You get a sales guy out there with your tent and your table every weekend. I think it costs us $100 a weekend, you know, and you're interacting with the community. I think in the new age with the pay-per-click and the online this and the leads from Angie's and all that stuff, what gets mixed is really interacting with your community and becoming trusted. When the homeowners walk by that tent and they drive by on Main Street and see the tent every weekend, that's going to be a trusted brand, right? Because they know we're not going anywhere. There's always going to be problems in constructions. And if you reverse engineer from the homeowner standpoint, they want someone if shit hits the fan, there's going to be someone that's accountable to make it right. I am branded every day of my life, unless I'm at actually, when I go to weddings now, I have a suit that opens up.
I saw that. Looks sharp.
So I'm branded almost all the time. Because guess why? Example, I was in Publix on a Sunday. I was wearing my gear. She followed me out to my wrap truck. Guess what she said to me? The lady says, hey, it's Sunday. I got a roofer to look at. Can you come out sometime this week? I said, oh, yeah, okay, where's it at? I'm the president of an HOA down the street. I said, you know what?
I'll go right now.
I'll come today. And, you know, at the time, my girlfriend's like rolling her eyes, like, we're coming right now. Don't worry, she'll be fine in the truck. So I landed that job, $800,000 job, because I'm walking around in my goofy Strong Roofing shirt that says I'm on a roof. And some lady that was buying her loaf of bread recognized it and said, follow me to this HOA community.
Yeah. An important thing to note, which I'm thinking about as you're talking, you didn't start off as the guy that's just like, out here, I'm Strong Roofing, it better be strong, flexing in public. Like, you're not really that type of guy. It's not your natural personality. You actually thought, I don't want to drive around a wrap truck. I don't want everyone knowing who I am. But eventually you flipped and you became a completely different person.
And you just got to get over your fears, right, and your doubts. Early on especially, you have all these fears and these doubts and what could go wrong, and you just got to get over it, and it becomes contagious. You know, I enjoy thinking of ways to market now. Like I enjoy doing the podcast with you. I enjoy doing my podcast that I do every week. I enjoy making the reels. It wasn't always that way. It was nerve-wracking, but you got to face your fears, and this is the day and age that we live in. You got to put yourself out there if you want to grow the business. It's simple as that.
We're very similar, and you're actually a lot better than me in a lot of these areas as far as branding and growing a reputation in the community. But we do a lot of the same things. And even early on, wrap trucks and just like being loud and being known in the community is the only way we got leads was referrals. Like, yeah, we were a great roofer. That's obviously part of the equation. But in the world of like PE entering the roofing space, companies more sophisticated, higher marketing budgets, like they're just going to dump all this money into PPC, into LSA, and leads are just going to continue to get more and more expensive. But when you have a model like you do,
yeah, because I don't think I don't play in their space.
you sit outside of that. We started PPC for the first time this year, and people think it's crazy that we got to the size we are without using PPC. And I'm like, yeah, we don't even do it, which people think that's crazy, but it's not because all of these things. Yeah. What do you spend a month in marketing? What's your percentage of marketing? Any numbers on how much you spend?
Yeah, so obviously this question is loaded. I ran some numbers this morning to get it. I spend about 2% on marketing.
That's insane.
Yeah, so
that's insane.
And I think it's low. And again, I don't pay for PPC. I don't pay for any Facebook. It's all organic on Facebook. Another key that I'm bringing up Facebook again, when you're on Facebook, you want to seek out your referral partners on Facebook and become their friends on Facebook. Realtors, insurance agents, property managers, home inspectors. Those four are kind of our key targets. So why not add them on Facebook? Then when you make all these reels, it's going to come across their feed, right? So you reverse engineer it. Who do you want to be aligned with? The people that have influence over your potential customers.
100%. All this stuff is so cheap, and anybody can do it early on. It's like just get out there, boots on the ground, or fingers on your phone if you want to look at using social media to do it. And it's the most powerful things. Like, you're just going to throw money in the trash if you're trying to pay for leads, especially early on. You have no reputation. Nobody's ever heard of you. So even if your ad does make it across their phone, they're going to skip right by it. And like I was telling you before we started, if you ever decided you wanted to really scale the business with some like predictable money into that form of advertising, your cost per lead is going to be way lower than everybody else in your market, because when they see your ad, oh, Strong Roofing, I drive by them every day. Yeah. Or I see their TV commercials, or I saw them at the farmer's market, or they're in my BNI group. You're out there, you're a staple in the community. I think that's great, because like the more PE activity coming in here, like you need to set outside of that. And how do you set outside of that? Well, if everyone in the community likes you already,
Again, I am well aware that I have a little bit of an unfair advantage to this stuff as well, because I grew up in Sarasota. I'm born and bred. I've been around forever. I've had a wide network to start with, but it also kind of, at the beginning, minimized my urge to go network, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because everyone knew me from high school and being around town, that I was like, oh, I don't have to network. I'm just going to rely on referrals because my work's so great that people refer me. It's a false badge of honor that, when I talk to other trades that don't market, I try to convince them to think otherwise.
All these things we're talking about, they take time to like really like reap the rewards of it. Like it takes a little time. It picks up over time, and then every year it kind of grows exponentially when you have this at your back and you've been doing all these things. So like, how do you handle the first couple of years before you're seeing like great results from all these activities?
I know how I handle them. I worked out of my home, so my overhead was so low that I could be patient. Okay. Another thing that I did, for right or wrong, I avoided the difficult jobs in the beginning, because the worst thing you want to do when you don't have a big bankroll to cover your mistakes is bite off more than you can chew. Okay? You don't want to chase the shiny things right away, because it's likely that you're going to underbid that job. You're going to come in under a company like you that I can foresee all the problems. That's the reason Andy bid the job at $500,000, whereas person B that's the newcomer, first job, a 400,000, I could do it for 325, no problem. Before you know it, you're going to run into all the headaches that you didn't foresee that the veteran roofer did, and you're going to be upside down, and you're going to be in a different career path with a bankruptcy. So patience is my...
For sure. Yeah, you want to be patient, but you also want to be busy and you want to be doing all the right things. Just understand that this takes time. And like, I think it's hard to be patient in today's world, especially if you're online. If you're reaching out to me online, it's, you're online. You're seeing all the things online and everybody's a millionaire. Everybody's killing it. But if you really listen to everybody who has a successful business, a stable business, it took a while. Like, when did you feel, you may not even feel, like, when did you feel like your business is like stable, you made it, you're successful, you did it?
I think a lot of that had to do when I got my first commercial building and we moved in and I had staff, because the first 5 years it was all me. And then I had, one person working for me out of my house. So once we took that step where I moved into the commercial building, you painted it green, I got my sign up on the street and people were passing by, I got way more referrals just from that building and that sign from people that were kind of outside of my network. I became more of a household name, if you will. Yeah.
Something I envy about you is you own all your buildings, and I don't. I started off very small, rented the space, keeping expenses down. I don't have money. I can't buy a building. So you rent. And then we grew a little bit. I took over the space next to me, still renting. And then we grew more. Then I took over a bigger space renting. And now I have 14,000 square feet that I rent every month. And then I got stuck in the same thing at Metal Lab. So something I envy about you is you buy. You
and
own
again,
your space.
that, as I said, for right or wrong, it's because I waited 6 years until I moved into that commercial building. A lot of people online, Grant Cardone, leverage, loans. Right? But that puts you at risk in the long run too. And you kind of leverage your future a little bit, in my opinion. Whereas if you can afford to buy and have equity in the buildings, you're probably setting yourself up not to fail. Because I don't have the pressure of the overhead.
Right. And do you own a lot of real estate outside of the offices?
Yeah.
What kind of real estate?
I got probably 6 houses. I got 6 single-family homes, and the more research I do, I probably should have veered towards multifamily, but I got, I live in a home for 3 years, and I can afford another when I move to that, and so on and so forth.
Right, and you just rent them all out?
I rent them all out if I don't live in them, yeah.
Right, and then what are your goals with Strong? Like, where do you want to take it? What are you trying to do? What are you focused on?
Right now, we are under contract for a new building in Tampa. So I expect to close on that within 20 days, 30 days. And expansion, it's only an hour away, so I can still keep control to a certain degree. And, if I haven't figured it out yet, I'll figure it out is my plan.
Well, that's interesting to talk about because it fits with what we're going. So you're going to greenfield a new location in Tampa. You probably already serve a little bit in Tampa. Every once in a while you go up there.
Yep.
It's kind of similar to my market. We stretch. But what's your plan to kind of pour gas on that market once you have the building?
I'm going to try to follow the blueprint that I've done thus far. We didn't get into, I gave you like my first ring of like marketing that I did to help the viewers that are starting off. What I got here? Some of the other stuff I do. I sponsor the local basketball team, the local football team, this high school, that high school. Everyone that comes to me for $1,000 donation, okay, you got it. I started a podcast locally, interviewing entrepreneurs here. I got a couple of billboards in town. Again, the same thought process with the billboard as with the wrap truck, as with the yard signs. That's what I forgot to mention earlier. Yard signs early. Keep it simple, all right? I cringe when I see the yard signs that have a QR code on it. I cringe when I see the truck that has a big QR code sign on it. I just don't see someone running up to a truck and scanning the QR code to go to the website. For me, it's all about branding. The company name, the phone number, and my face if it fits. Mm-hmm. That's the formula. So going back to your question, I bought a building in Tampa. I bought it on a busy corner in South Tampa, okay, where a lot of the money is. Guess the first thing I'm going to do with that? I'm going to paint that bitch green. I'm going to put a black roof on it, and I'm going to stick a sign up.
Can the city tell you, like, no, you're not painting that thing that ugly fucking green? No way.
I don't know. I asked my realtor. He said it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I'm very much like, do it now, ask for forgiveness later. We put a giant billboard out on the street. I didn't ask for permission. Our office is here. I'm putting it. Nobody said anything yet.
So that's my plan. I'm going to paint it green. I'm going to go black. I'm going to get the local phone number up there. I think it's important to have an 813 because it's a different area code. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get 2 billboards within 3 miles of the office, and the truck wraps, the simple stuff.
Yeah, drive traffic to the Google right away.
You reviews. Got it. Yep, get the Google location down there. Drive as many reviews as you can, and see if my formula works in an area that I'm not from, where I don't have roots.
For sure. All the AI and like AI search is interesting. So like I'm looking into a lot lately about like how things are going to change as far as like online visibility when AI is telling the homeowners which 3 roofers to hire. And so far, like nobody knows. Anyone that says they know, they're kind of like speculating and putting a strategy together that they're too early to know.
So you're saying you want to figure out, how do I become the recommended roofer for
Exactly, because that's a different thing. Like we've all been focused on Google for so long, but like eventually, this is inevitable. Like someone is going to go into their AI and the AI is going to tell them the 3 best roofers in their area to call. And now we're no longer on Google per se, because Google's not the only game in town as far as AI. There's all these engines. So like,
well, it's like the generation before us, and I think about some of the bigger roofers around here. They rely a lot on the TV ad still, and it works. I do have a TV commercial because there's an older population here, but they're not loud on social media. They're not that great on Google even. They rely on their kind of like being ingrained in the community, and I wonder how will that taper off.
Yeah, I mean, well, not to be whatever, but yeah, I mean that generation is going to die off eventually, and then like everybody's going to be in tech.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at now, right? Where we're the kings of Google, right? But how do we make sure that we don't get left behind when ChatGPT becomes king?
Right. Do you do YouTube for Strong?
Yes, I do.
Like longer videos or all just real shorts?
All short reels.
Because something that seems like unanimous in just the research I've done and what people are saying is that because the AI can transcribe videos like instantly, if you have strong keywords and strong relatable searchable topics in your YouTube content, and you don't have to like plant them like a blog post because AI is smart, it understands context. But if you make searchable, like videos that speak to homeowner search on YouTube, the AI will see that you have all this content online, you're busy online answering these homeowners' questions, you're a credible source, and like that should help.
And that's easy. Reverse engineer it. A lot of this business is simpler than people think. If you want to make content about highly searched topics on Google, go to Google and you search roofing. And then it said people also searched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make a video for every one of those, okay? Yep. Don't make excuses. Everyone's uncomfortable. Everyone sucks at first on camera. You just got to start doing it, and eventually you will become better. We might not ever be, able to be a news anchor, right? But start talking on camera, you'll become more comfortable, and over time, no one's going to expect you as a roofer to be the most well-spoken person ever. They're like, oh, this guy's relatable. Look at him. He stuttered on camera. I've stuttered 15 times since we started this podcast.
For sure, yeah. I gave a talk on sales process just yesterday, and like there was like a lot of like online sales coaches there and like people that were in business to teach roofers things. And like I get up there and I was like, guys, I'm not a coach. I'm just a roofer. I'm going to tell you what I do in my business. And there was slides behind me, like they had the sales process slides behind me and they gave me this little remote. And I'm just talking sales process, like I'm talking to you, to a room. And like the lady kept yelling at me. She's like, you're not hitting the slides. You're not hitting the slides. I'm like, all right. And I forgot the whole time. I was just going, I'm like, I'm not a speaker. I'm just a roofer. I'm telling you what I do.
But what you got going for you is you're relatable, right? So when people see you on camera, it's like, this guy, he's a roofer and he's talking about roofing. No one expects to every word to come out clearly, to not run off topic a little bit, to not ramble a little bit over here, to not lose your train of thought. This shit happens, you know. We're not cutting this much, are we?
Right.
You know, we're just talking about roofing and what we do. I flip through my pages and I pause for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
No big deal, dude.
Right.
Just get in front of the camera if you want to get the leads.
100%.
Or hire a good editor.
Or hired a good editor.
Don't act like you can edit all my stuff. I'm pretty good. I'm getting better. But to the YouTube point, because I've had the point I made about YouTube and AI search and all that stuff, I've had that strategy in place for probably a month and a half, 2 months now that we need to make YouTube videos. And how many YouTube video calendar appointments have I missed on the schedule? Every single week for a month and a half, I've had it on my schedule. So I gave it to Matt. I had to give it to Matt because I don't have time for it. But
You know what? You know my process is? I have a full-time video guy now, right? And basically, if I see him looking like he has not much to do, I go hop in the truck and I look at the schedule and we drive to the job site. I don't know what I'm going to talk about until I get to the job site. And I go, hey, there you go. Maybe I'll make a video about what I learned from Andy. No pressure treated fascia board because it might rust the nails out.
Right.
Okay. So, but honestly, I usually go to the job site. I look around like, what can I make a video about?
that is a good video.
Yeah.
Remember that one for me? No pressure treated fascia, because homeowners will ask for pressure treated fascia, but they shouldn't be asking that. They think it's a good thing, and it sounds like it's a good thing, but it's not, especially if you're doing metal.
Yeah.
But with all like the AI stuff and then the PE stuff and Google PPC and like thinking you need to have this like sophisticated marketing strategy and this giant marketing budget, that's why your story is amazing. You spend 2% on marketing. I'm about 5%, and like I'm still pretty low.
Yeah, you're low as well.
You're less than half of me. Because and you're better at branding than me. Like that's what I wanted to ask you about. The I'm on a roof and the it better be strong with the flex is like it's like brilliant stuff.
So I'll give you the backstory. I used to have a buddy that he worked for a boat sales company, and he did the marketing over there. And that song came out, "I'm on a boat, bitch," la la la. He had the shirts made that I'm on a boat. And at the time, this was early on, you know, year one. I'm like, I got to make shirts. I saw his shirt, and I go, how about if I said I'm on a roof? And I thought people will stop me and ask me what that means. And I constantly see people staring at me and reading my shirt. And the bolder ones will say, guess what they tell me when I see this and I'm at the gym? You're not on a roof. And I go, my response is 7 days a week, though. If you ever have any roofing problems, give me a call. Mm-hmm. And it breaks the ice.
Right.
You know, have you had your roof done yet? You know, or just shoot the shit with them and they remember you.
Yeah. It better be strong. It's in my head. Every time you're taking pictures, you make sure you flex. It's like a brand statement that works. It's strong. It's memorable.
That took me a while, man. That came to me late. For the B&I that I mentioned earlier, they always want you to have a kind of a tagline at the end of your little elevator speech. And I fumbled around with like, don't be wrong, be strong. Or, if the storm comes, it better be, it's going to be strong when they, and then I finally just kept it simple and it better be strong. And I throw a little twang on it at the end, and it seems to have worked.
Right. It's funny. You, me, Robin, we're all in the same state, separate markets. Well, you're going to be competing with Robin soon. But we all learned most of what to do in growing our business on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Which, like what would you say about that?
So my story was I was on YouTube for about a year prior before I even watched a roofing video. I was there for the reptiles. I'm a little bit of a reptile freak. I own like huge monitor lizards and stuff. So I was down the rabbit hole for the reptile stuff. And then around the same time, Daniel approached me, the foreman that still works for me today. And he wanted to only work for me. So I had to figure out how to scale. And my dad, who's a roofer as well, check out this guy, Dimitri. So I'm like, whatever, what does he know? And then I eventually checked it out, became a big fanboy, watched everything that he put out and tried to emulate and incorporate in my business. And the one thing I'll say about that is I feel like the people that succeed the most, when you watch it, you make a note, and then you do it, all right? All too often you go to these conferences, you watch the videos, and you have these grand ideas that never get done. The people that win in business, they implement the ideas, okay? On my weekly podcast, Sarasota Speaks, we interview entrepreneurs. I went to a conference. They're starting a podcast hard. This is 3 years ago. I wrote it down. I'm like, this is my goal to figure this out for this year. I don't know how to use cameras. I don't know how to speak on a microphone very well. I've never been on camera, but this makes sense for what I want to accomplish. Let me figure out how to do it and then get it done.
100%. That's no secret. It's never been easier to do anything you want to do in life. Like Ernesto's a great example. I met him in the Verizon store. He got a drone because he was interested in it. He was showing me videos. His first ever drone video, he took at a Jetty because I'm just bullshitting with him buying a phone. I'm like, you want to sell phones? What do you want to do? Like, oh, I got this drone. Look, I just took this video. I think I like this stuff. Like, all right, come take a video on a roof. And now, like, when I bring him around, people are super impressed with how good he got. He's just self-taught online. You're self-taught roofing company, like YouTube.
Yep.
Me too, same thing. I would watch a video, I'd be like, that's amazing, and then I would go do it.
Yep.
And I'm still that way. Like, I was at a little conference thing yesterday, and like people are saying things, and I'm texting my sales manager, I'm texting my marketing manager, like we're gonna go do those, we're gonna go put them into practice. I've learned things today from you, I'm gonna go do them, and my business is gonna grow. It's just like learn and then do. But with the internet, there's so much shit out there, so much information. You just learn from online and then do the thing.
Yeah, and you got to have when you're online and you're scrolling, we're all guilty of it. You get lost in the sauce a little bit when you're on the social media. You just got to remind.
Doom scrolling. I just learned that phrase. Recently. Doom scrolling.
Okay.
You ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I just learned that like a week ago.
But-
it's called doom scrolling.
But the truth is, when you're scrolling like that on your couch all night and 2 hours go by, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You know, so you want to be the content that people watch. You don't want to be the one just aimlessly watching content. And if you're going to be on your phone and watch with a purpose.
Yeah.
Right? You know, when you sit down to watch the roofing videos, stay on the roofing videos. Don't float off to the
Yeah, well,
entertainment.
I don't like scrolling is like I'm not a big scroller, although like I can get caught scrolling. But like I'm always like long form YouTube, like teach me something.
I love the long form YouTube as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I lost the need to be entertained by anything. It kind of sucks because like I have a hard time watching movies now because like for so many years I just like would watch YouTube and like be learning things. So now when I'm doing something that's not teaching me anything, I'm like less engaged than I used to be. Like I used to be a giant Eagles fan. I'm a Philly guy. I have an Eagles tattoo on my leg. I even lost interest in sports a little bit. And
Me too.
I think it's just I got so into learning and business and
It becomes
and leveling
contagious.
up. Yeah.
It becomes contagious.
Yeah, you like lose the need to be entertained.
Another thing I'll tell your audience, the conferences aren't as good as they used to be, I think, but I think there's still value in going to these conferences. You know, I had seen Robin on an interview, and you're at the conference, and I just walked right up to him, sat right next to him in the auditorium. Hey, man, I've seen you on YouTube before. I just want to introduce myself. You know, I'm an hour south from you in Sarasota. Super receptive. We've been buddies ever since. And it's very comforting to have people in your same shoes that are going through a lot of the same problems that you can shoot a text to. Hey, man, I ran to this. What do you do in this situation? And you bounce ideas and problem solving and strategy off of each other. And it's therapeutic.
Dude, 1,000%. I went my whole career without that, and it's only in the last year where I have that. And like yesterday, I met Randy Hurtado, you know, way further along than me from Texas. He's teaching me all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Now I have his phone number. I recently started talking with Jason Reisman. Like it's really valuable to have those relationships because you're all in it together. You help each other out. What's the buzz phrase they always say? Collaboration over competition?
I think it's collaborate, dominate.
Something like that. But no, it's very useful. And if you're early on, that stuff's going to help you and you're going to keep going because it's really hard. That like I don't sugarcoat it. It's really hard. You know, you're going to have to deal with things you've never had to deal with. You're going to want to cry.
So Andy came to my shop to do my office tour.
Yeah,
you know, I snapped at all the employees that, hey guys, I'm right there. Thursday morning, I just figured out that Andy's coming tomorrow. We got to clean this place up. So we had the office all cleaned up, smelling good for Andy to come in. Meanwhile, a couple of the project managers are building a cantilever to stack a lot of our extra supplies on the side of the building, and it collapsed and took out the power.
Yeah, the electrical box was completely smashed, and now we have no
smashed
power.
like 2 hours ago. So you're gonna run into shit, you know. You just got to take it in stride, and we relocated here to do the podcast.
Yeah, we weren't in there 15 minutes. And we were,
Dude, I'm so disappointed.
dude, it sounded like thunder. And
I
I'm
thought
like,
it was
dude, I
thunder.
know it's not a storm. We just were outside. It's sunny.
I heard
what
the
was
thunder.
that?
I heard the thunder. I'm like, don't worry, I'll pop right back on. And then I thought, oh shit, they're building a cantilever. And then I walked outside. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Hopefully, we'll have the power on later today.
Ernesto, hopefully you get a picture of it. You can throw it in as B-roll.
Yeah, I'll share that. Sure.
But that's probably good enough. Thanks, Trey. You're the
Good.
man. You're the
All
man.
right.
Taught me a lot.
Amen. Appreciate you.